Good morning. This is Kevin Scott again of Liberty University's online program, History of the United States 530, the history of Christianity in the United States and Canada. I'm joining you again from a hotel lobby located in Dubai as I travel again between Afghanistan and my home, California. This morning I'd like to talk about an influential individual of the late 20th century American Christianity. Martin Luther King Jr. is a highly celebrated civil rights leader, but also a dedicated man of God. Before this semester, I was guilty of thinking Dr. King was simply the leader of African Americans, striving for equality in America. I was truly ignorant at the influence he had on the president and his restraint to sway from his faith and beliefs against the Vietnam War. Once his efforts had helped pass the Civil Rights Act of 1964 and the 1965 Voting Rights Act. According to his bibliography printed in the May 1st, 1968 issue of the Negro History Bulletin, Dr. King was born in Atlanta, Georgia in 1929. He studied at the University of Pennsylvania and Harvard University and was awarded his PhD by Boston University. He was a pastor at the Dexter Avenue Baptist Church. Earlier this year, I had the privilege of standing on the steps of the Lincoln Memorial where Dr. King delivered his most powerful address, known as the I Have a Dream speech. As I stood there, I looked across the reflecting pools and I could see the Washington Monument in the background. I can only imagine what it looked like that day with the crowds as he delivered that speech. On the walls of the monument, inside the Lincoln Memorial, is the words of the Gettysburg Address, referenced by Dr. King during his speech. According to an article written by Bernard Duffy, not even King could anticipate the place his scintillating speech would take in public memory. In 1963, King delivered 350 speeches and sermons. His message and rhetoric were often the same, although the size of his audience and amplitude of his public exposure were never so great as that day. I also had the honor of standing in the United States National Cathedral in Washington, D.C., and looked at the pulpit where Dr. King delivered his final sermon just days prior to his assassination. According to Richard Crosby, Martin Luther King Jr. gave a comparatively unknown public address to a congregation at the Washington National Cathedral on Sunday, 31 March, 1968. Although not nearly as famous as his I Have a Dream speech or his letter from Birmingham jail speech, this sermon, which proved to be his very last, is an important aesthetic and thematic event in King's oracle history. My trip to Washington, D.C. culminated with a visit to the Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Memorial. It was extremely emotional and rewarding to me to understand the religious impact Dr. King made on modern American Christianity. Reading the quotes and explaining to my daughter the significance that Dr. King had could never be recreated. And I feel truly blessed that I was able to experience that and walk away from this class and walk away from that trip with a better understanding of who Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was. Thank you.